Peace be upon you all, dear angels of God. Welcome back for another episode of The Living Jesus. I'm your host, Saiha, and I have a very special guest with us today, Brother Nasar. He is an incredible brother who supports the Dawah day and night, and he recently pledged his allegiance in January of this year, and we wanted to meet with him and to show him off to the world and to the Christians especially, about what it looks like when you actually follow the guidance of God and sincerely search for the truth. Thank you so much for joining me today, my brother.
The pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me here.
God bless you. So I know that you had a very long road and you were extremely open-minded, and I know that you've explored different paths in life, especially religion. You love God so much, and you really was focusing your whole life on the truth and finding it. And I know that one of those little stops that you made was actually in a Christian community. And I wanted to ask you about that for the sake of our Christian brothers and sisters, right? Because this is a show, The Living Jesus, and we want to show that Jesus does guide people even in this day and age if you are sincere. And I wanted to ask you about your days being a Pentecostal Christian.
Yeah, of course, I'd love to share. So, I mean, is there anything in specific you would like me to go into?
Yeah, I mean, I want to know, first of all, how did you end up there? What brought you to believing in this particular denomination? What about Jesus' teachings that brought you there? Were you interested in Christianity before, or was it something that, what inspired you to join that community?
Sure, it's a very, very good question you're asking me. And actually, it's something that started in high school, you see. And when I was in school, I learned more about religion from anybody, and I'm including imams, scholars, priests, friends and family. But I actually learned more about religion from my religious education teacher in high school, secondary school, and his name was Mr. Wakeman, and he was a devout Christian. And he is a very pleasant soul. He's somebody who's very well-mannered, and he was well-spoken, and somebody who communicated religion in a way that inspired people to look. And so the journey for me in religion came from high school, from that individual specifically. And we would have to do things where we'd do projects for our GCSEs, which is like our grades to leave to go to college. And RE was one of my chosen subjects, and I had to pick some religions that I wanted to do my end of school project on. And so I picked Christianity and Islam, these two. And when I was looking into Christianity as part of my project, we had to go and visit a church, and we had to go and understand that you have to try in the project. You have to explain what it is that what this religion does, what does it entail, and stuff like even diagrams, like what does that do, what's the altar for, is there a pool?
So you really had to dive into the world of Christianity.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did my study in school, and just after school, that's when I started to really find my feet in the world as a young guy, and I was by no means a good boy when I was a younger lad. I was very rebellious, and I had a specific circle of friends. Now, I had mentioned on a previous show that I didn't really fit in with my own society, with the Pakistanis and the Indians and the Bengali brothers and sisters. My social unit actually was made up of people from mixed black and white, and anybody else really, and they were my friends, and they weren't my influence by no means. However, there was a certain way that they behaved that I kind of liked, and there was a friend of mine called Daniel. Now, he was a drummer. He was known for a drummer, and he plays the djembe, or the African drum, and he taught me how to play too, so I can play that. So it's pretty cool. So I was born and raised in Luton, and when I started looking into Christianity, because initially I'd learnt the Quran in school, in high school, so I learnt how to read the Quran, but again, this is something very common with all a lot of people who are born and bred in the UK, that they learn Arabic, they can read the Quran, but they don't actually know what it means, right? So this is just a common, it's a common thing that's here. So having that lack of knowledge and understanding in the Islamic side of things, but everything is in English on the Christian side of things, I started to, there was an understanding there that I didn't have from anything else. So as I was delving through this Christian journey, I met a lot of people, and I was introduced by a couple of friends of mine to this church, and it was the Pentecostal church in Luton City Centre. It's right opposite a Catholic church as well, St Mary's. Yeah, and so we find that I'm going there now, and they have Bible study, and they have a play school as well, like a nursery. Like they have a little community. And when I'm looking at the Divine Just State and how we operate, and I'm looking at how that was, I was like, they literally tried to create something of their own. And that, now I'm like, he's trying to create something of his own. So the pastor's name is Chris, very lovely guy. And, you know, everything was very nice initially for me. So go in there, we'd break bread. I'd go down Sundays, would spend a lot of extra time there on different days during the week. In the evenings, they'd have like evening sessions, have a youth club as well. So that was also good for meeting other people and learning perspectives from others. And I wasn't the only brown person in that church. You know, there were other people from the West Indies also there. And the church is amazing, actually. They had a band, and Daniel was in the band. He was the percussionist. He played the drums, and they had a guitarist. Yeah. And we would sing. I would sing Christian songs, you know, songs very similar to when I was in junior school. When I went to a junior school, it was Christian songs again. We were singing Christian songs growing up. And actually, it's pretty funny, actually, but the school was like 99.9% non-Caucasian. So you go and you see, it's just
it's a diverse place.
It's a very diverse place, and they're all singing Christian songs. And so, like, it kind of took me back to the whole junior school thing when I was singing at church. So we'd go in, we'd also break bread. It would be like a Jacob's cracker, cracker and some Ribena. And, you know, he'd call us up. And I remember this one time, actually, that I went to Top Man, which is like a place where you can buy clothes. And I bought a T-shirt. And it had like a circle on it. And it had like monkeys on it.
Okay.
I didn't think nothing of it. Honestly, I didn't think nothing of it. And when I walked into the church, because you know how churches are, you walk in literally when the doors open, right at the front is where the pastor stands, and you've got the seats on the sides. So I walk in, and I'm a little bit late to a service. So as I walk in, everybody's it's on a Sunday, so it's a Sunday service. And so I walk in, and I'm walking down. And the first thing that the pastor says is, he starts trying to cast the devil out. I'm thinking, what's going on here? And this is something that I never really thought of before. And this is also part of my history and my experience that I picked up through being a Christian. I walked down, and I think a lot of people can probably understand where I'm coming from here, is that the item of clothing that I was wearing, from where he was standing, the Pastor Chris, he could see something else on my top.
Okay.
So as I walk down, he starts trying to cast out all sorts, and he looks at me, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, because I'm just looking at my top, like, what's wrong with it? And then I realise that actually that's making a face of a demon. So the way that the T-shirt was made had like a demonic face on it. So it was like a hidden sort of thing that you couldn't see it from far away, but from close you couldn't really tell. So you go shopping, you look at a top at this close, right?
Yeah.
So he really opened my mind to understanding that when you're looking at something, look again. So I started to double check and understand that when I'm going through life and I'm doing things, look at what you're doing and focus on everything that you do. And that was where I started to take care. And so I went through this whole journey of being in the church with these people and going there and social functions too, at the pastor's house and at other people in the congregation's house. And it was just really lovely, you know. They respected the fact that I didn't eat meat at that time. you know, and it was just really nice, barbecues in the summer, and it was very social for me, and I didn't really have that growing up, so that was really nice feeling for me.
So for you, what attracted you the most to that specific denomination was the community, because you were drawn to the community, to the love that they shared,
Yes.
to the life and to the love and the light that was shared,
Yes.
and that you learned something from the pastors actually.
Yeah.
So
In addition, sorry.
but what about the specific beliefs? Were there like specific beliefs about that particular church that drew you in?
So this is the thing that I was about to come to, is that it was also the fact that, because I'd studied a little bit in school about church and the different beliefs and the different denominations, and one of the things that I really liked about this church is that just the way that they ran the church and the way that they preached the message, it was a style that I was attracted to, and I liked the way that Chris would the way that he would talk about Jesus, and how he would explain it in a way in which every person in the room would feel a connection. You know, he had this way with words, but it kind of turned a little bit strange after a little while, you know, because the more you get to know a community, you start to hear things, and they start to talk about their own experiences, you know, when they start opening up, because you've been there for a while now. And it kind of started to, I mean, I was there for 2 years. You know, it was not a short period of time, and take time to kind of ease in. But
Yeah, of course.
gradually going through all that, you know, they have a process of baptism in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, in that specific church, they had a process of baptism as well. And one of the things that really started to make me question what was going on is the fact that there was some manipulation going on. And I thought this is very strange, because I didn't expect a religious, this is my first experience in a place, like, you know, and I didn't expect to see or hear of manipulation in a place of worship where God exists.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And obviously today we know that all religions have this. It's not a surprise now, especially as you get older, you understand. But as a young'un, you know, something I just never had been
It was
exposed
shocking
to.
for you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like kind of because you saw it in such a pure light,
Yeah.
and then it was like a big shock for you to find out that it was like,
yeah,
you know,
I mean, I've loved Jesus since a young age. I've loved Jesus. He's like one of the main characters in my life, Jesus.
So what attracted you most to Jesus's teachings? Because I know that a lot of the people who are in Islam, especially, they say, like, they have to say that they love Jesus and that they believe he's the Messiah, but they don't actually read the teachings of Jesus. So what was it when you were actually reading the Bible? What was it about Jesus specifically that made you like really fall in love with him?
So it was because he died for our sins. That was a thing that really drew me in, because I saw myself as a failure. As a youngster, I saw myself as a failure because I didn't really fit in with my own family. I didn't really have a unit of friends, and so the only person I could lean on, because I didn't really know much about Prophet Muhammad. You know, only what I learned in school.
Yeah.
And by no means is learning in school about Prophet Muhammad the same as doing your own study outside and learning from somebody who knows about Prophet Muhammad. It's not the same thing. So
I believe that we have a caller. Hello, Terry. How are you?
Yeah, hi there. Just need some clarification on...
I'm so sorry, brother. You're going to have to repeat. I did not hear what you said.
Having gone through the book and the videos of Goal of the Wise, I was stuck on door 5 and need an explanation on that.
Yeah, so look, brother, the chapter 5, it does have a lot of interesting revelations that are very difficult and disturbing for many people, but there's also, you know, lots of evidence there. There are so many sources where the information comes from, why the information is there. So definitely keep searching and please continue investigating. However, we are on a television show at the moment where I am interviewing Brother Nasar about his journey in the Pentecostal Christian church. So if you have any questions specifically about chapter 5, you can email us at outreach at theahmadireligion.com. Thanks so much for calling.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. So Jesus' teachings.
Yes. So it was at Jesus died for our sins. This is something that I really resonated with. And it was because I didn't see myself as somebody who is successful, young, you know. I really, at the age group that I am, and I've spoken to a lot of my friends who are the same age as me, went to school together, that we've all struggled. Like, it's not just me or myself. Actually, they've all struggled. We had a good conversation. We had a reunion recently at the death of one of the people who we used to be in our group. And so they all shared the same struggles. You know, it's quite sad to hear that people in our age group have those struggles. And so when I was younger, knowing that there was somebody who died for our sins, it made me feel like they've helped.
Yeah.
And so
no,
I felt,
of course. I mean, this, to be honest, like this notion, I mean, I was a Christian for many years. I definitely believed this idea that Jesus died for your sins because he loved us so much. And I mean, it does give you a sense of the love that you never imagined that could be possible, because how would somebody, knowing that you would exist in the future, you know, wanted to wipe your slate clean? This is a very beautiful idea, right? And it was definitely something that's a good door to Jesus, for sure, because it does show the loving aspect of Jesus that, you know, that you don't find anywhere else. And Jesus did teach really great love. He teaches extreme, you know, high standards for morals and manners. And he did tell the disciples, he said, there is no greater love than to lay your life down for your friends, you know. So it's definitely something, you know, that that's very appealing for a lot of people, especially people who have been rejected or they've had a difficult time in their life. And to be honest, like, I do know that this is kind of how they do get a lot of people, to be honest.
This route.
But I think that, you know, the main thing that I wanted to focus on today is like what kind of takeaways, what did you take away from that religion that even now you look back and you see how they helped you and how those teachings and that community helped you to get to where you are today?
So there's two elements to this. So the first element is, yes, I learnt a lot from being there. I learnt about caring for parents, friends, family, neighbours, especially neighbours. Like neighbours is a very big thing in religion, and I didn't realise how big it was, you know, until I started delving into more religions, that looking after your neighbours is actually part of faith. So how can you eat, for example, in your neighbour go hungry? And, you know, so you should look after the people that are around you. So it had a big impact on me from the sense of being positive elements, but also I noticed that these, for me, I kind of swung more towards the negative aspects of it. And the reason why this is because of the manipulation that I saw that was going on. There were certain things, and I never really understood it. Like, he could talk to you and your face would just go so red that you could feel the temperature of your face changing. And this happened to a multitude of people. And, you know, there's just a number of things that happened that really made me think that my time here, what I needed to learn, I've come and learned. And, you know, that I should continue my journey on to wherever I'm going next. And so I'm still friends with a lot of people from that church. And they're very, you know, they're still there. And they have a different level of faith in that specific denomination of Christianity. And I think that it's because it's tied in with families, and I think that kind of makes it a little bit easier. But the takeaway from Pentecostal church is joy. Joy is the biggest thing for me. The positive takeaway is that there's an element of contentment and happiness, and unity is also a good takeaway from there. So, you know, like, points of the Christians, like, they get some things all right, you know, when it comes to unity, unifying people. And when you come to these little small communities, like these little churches, you start to see that there is communities out there that are trying, you know. It's just a shame that they haven't got the vicegerent of God with them that makes it stronger and more real. And I think that's where, here in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light, it makes it very, very different. Because I can compare my happiness as an 18-year-old young lad at a Pentecostal church, and I can compare that happiness, that level of happiness, with where I am now. There is a big difference. I kind of like to say, don't confuse peace with quiet. There's a big difference between the two there. So we have peace here, but it's quiet there. There's a big difference.
Yeah, I grew up in the Baptist church, Southern Baptist church, but it was a mega church. We did also have a band and stuff. There is a sort of like atmosphere of perfection in the Christian community, right? They do have a sort of like perfect families. The pastor is always perfect, and he has the perfect family, and perfect children, and they're so well behaved, and they're like the best of the best in the community, and everybody loves each other, and everybody is like sending casseroles to each other, and everybody's helping their neighbor. But there's an aspect, that the majority of the world does not see unless they are inside of that circle, inside of it, and that is the things that happen behind closed doors.
Exactly.
And that, for us, as former Christians, we know that Jesus Christ, he even said and warned the people against this. He said specifically, beware of hypocrites, the people who wash the cup on the outside, but inside is murder and greed and all kinds of nastiness.
That's correct, yeah.
So, you do find that in Christian communities, and it's very unfortunate. And I think that the only thing that, like you said, they're missing is just a person at the head who is actually from Jesus.
Yes.
If they have that community, and if they have this community spirit, but they have a man at the head who is appointed by God, then this is the actual key, because the head is the key to the body functioning, right? If you don't have a functioning mind or brain, your body is also not functioning. So what is it? What did you do? So you said that you didn't like the dark vibes that they were giving off with the manipulation and things that were happening behind closed doors. So where did you head after that? Because I know that you were still loving God and Jesus, so correct, I'm sure you moved on to something better.
So I didn't leave Christianity immediately. What actually happened was I continued to be a Christian, just away from the church.
Okay.
And I, tried to live by what I had learnt while I was at church. And I even used to rock the crucifix. I had a little gold crucifix that I used to wear around my neck. And it was a very strange time in my life in terms of relationships with family. And I'd eventually returned home, and it's very strange. And I mentioned this previously, but I'd wear a crucifix all the time, and I knew it was on my neck. But one morning I woke up, and I just felt different, like something wasn't there, and I realised that it's gone. So I searched the living room crazy to try and find the crucifix, and I couldn't find it. And I said to my mum, Mum, have you seen where my cross gone? And she says, nope, I haven't got a clue. And I was like, okay. And let's just leave it at that. So, that at that point, I thought to myself that, okay, so I still love Jesus. I don't need the cross right now. And I just continued, and I just patiently strolled through life, waiting for an opportunity to feel something similar to the positivity that I saw in Christianity. And that's where I started to that's when I started to understand that wherever I'm going, it might not always be successful, but the most important thing is that whatever your experiences is, take the good and leave the bad and move on. Exactly. And that's exactly what I did.
I mean, I feel like this is for sure something that truth seekers do. Me, myself, I had my own journey through different religions and through different texts and different denominations, all of these discoveries. And you do find the gold, the pearl, of you find the pearl in the religion, and then you leave the rest, and then you go and find, it's like an adventure. It's like a treasure hunt. It's a treasure hunt. Like with all of these different religions, all of the different denominations, they do have good in them. Otherwise they wouldn't stand, because the truth is the foundation of everything. So falsehood can't stand on its own. So it has to have some kind of truth in it. So I see that now. So now you had this this experience. So now you left the church behind, but you held on to the cross,
Yes.
and then you held on to Jesus, but then you lost the cross, and now you just have Jesus.
Yeah, so I was carrying a cross around my neck when
Yeah.
I should have been carrying it on my back. You know? So actually, you know, this is one of the sayings, you know, we carry our homes on our back, and I have literally done that. It's not been an easy ride, to be fair, you know. Going through the routes that I've taken, it's not normal. You know, normal people don't do these sort of things. You know, I've been from one religion to the next, as you have, exploring. You know, I came so close to going into wandering in a Catholic church. Yeah.
Really?
I came this close.
Yeah.
One of my friends, the one who actually passed away, we went to his funeral recently. He actually went to St. Mary's Church opposite. So it was actually through him who he would talk about Jesus, and in a similar sort of manner that you'd hear. And so I'd listen to him a lot, and we'd have these deep conversations. And, you know, like, you get these friends that you just don't see them for like 5 or 10 years. And then when you see them, it's like you never left. And you have these deep conversations, and it's always it tends to be about God. It tends to be about those sort of things. It's not like, oh yeah, what's work saying? But it's always about in-depth spiritual things, you know, because you're showing now your experience in life. Yeah. And so he would share his experiences with me, and I actually remember when he was being baptized, he went to get baptized. It's very strange for me to understand that he was being baptized, because I didn't think that all churches did this. Not the Catholic church that he went to specifically anyway, but I remember he went and he got a haircut, because we used to go to the same barber. So he went and got his haircut, prepared himself, and I was like, I'm really happy for you, because, you know, you're searching too. You know, he's searching, and I bumped into him. And it's just a shame that he's passed away. But, you know, we all have to pass away at some point. But the most important thing is that it doesn't matter if you're a Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, a Hindu, a Buddhist, that you should value the humanity of people, and you should value their journeys and their experiences, because actually these experiences that people have, it actually molds them into who they are. So if you come across a person who is very hard-hearted and very aggressive towards you, you have to kind of take a step back and think to yourself, so what could have happened in your life that has made you like that? Because it's quite clear that the religion that you're following isn't doing you any favors. So you need to kind of look elsewhere, because there is a problem with what you're doing, because it's not working, or you're simply not applying the teachings of Jesus or Krishna or Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them, to your life. And that's the most important thing, isn't it? Applying religion.
Yeah, but not everybody is eager to apply the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad or Jesus. Not everybody is like that. There are people out there who are not satisfied with who they are, and they try every day to be more patient, to be more understanding, to put humanity first, to to work on their values, on their morals and manners. And there are people who, who want to be who they are, and they want a religion that enables that. So a lot of people, some people will, maybe join Islam because the Quran tells them it's okay to kill people, So even though it doesn't say that necessarily, it depends on your interpretation, but it's open to interpretation, and you can interpret it that way, and you can find other people who also interpret it that way, and now you have created a sect of Muslims who just believe in killing people. So the thing is that, you should give yourself more credit, because for sure you had, even though you were treading that path and you were going through those experiences, you were seeing it from a sincere perspective, and you were looking at it from the correct way. And that is why you didn't settle for half a truth, or for 10% of truth, or for 1% of truth, or 15%. You wanted that 100%, and you were, every single time that you entered a church, every time you spoke to a person who claimed to be a Christian or a Muslim, you were always looking for that 100% truth, and that is what led you here, right? So for sure, it's extremely brave. A lot of people, if they decide to join a religion, or they are born into a religion, they are too ashamed of themselves. They can't put away their ego, and they can't really allow themselves to be, ridiculed or mocked for leaving the religion, even though they see that it's not right. So it takes extreme courage to, leave a religion that you were born into, simply because it's just not the correct way, and it's not really fitting in with reality. And a lot of people don't have that kind of courage. A lot of people, they stay in a church that they don't agree with out of fear or out of shame for their family. Maybe they don't want to lose their wife. Maybe they don't want to lose their friends.
It shouldn't be like that, should it?
Of course it shouldn't be that, but it's designed that way. This world is created and designed to be that way, but it's the fact that you didn't settle for that and that you kept on. So what made you move on from Christianity to, the next step?
Yeah, so straight out, towards the end days of my Christian, it was more to do with, I was at the age, you just left school and you're at the age of around 20 years old, and now you have to try and find your feet in the world. Like, you've got to try and survive, and like very little family support, family unity, and the social structure that I had was pretty much limited to 5 or 10 people, if that. And I'm bouncing around from one region of the UK to another region. I was in the West Midlands, I was back in Bedfordshire, in Luton, which is where I was born and bred. But actually, I did want to touch on something just before I got on to that, is that when I wore my cross, the people from from my family's community, like the Asian community in Luton, I would wear my cross everywhere. And a lot of, I was kind of known-ish in Luton, who I was. And when I'd walk around, people recognise me. They knew who I was because of schools and stuff, and people and friends. But because I'm Asian, they just assume that you must be a Muslim. You must be from a Muslim family. And so when they saw this cross around my neck, you could see that there was an element of judging, and that this guy, what's going on with him? But I'd continue to wear it. I wouldn't, it's not something that really made me run away from Christianity. In fact, it made me think that I have something which you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I have that desire to know, to want to be amongst the truthful, because that's what I believed it was. I mean, I've never gone into a religion and thought to myself that, I'm just going to be a Hindu today, or I'm going to be a Buddhist tomorrow. I'm going to wake up and be, a vampire in a week's time. It's always been like, I want to study, look, understand what are the benefits of being here, because a lot of people just say, what's the evidence, and then they're happy with that. That's fine for them, but for me it's like, well, I want to also know what the benefits of being in such a system is. Like, when people go and pick a mobile phone in the UK, for example, sometimes they want, I want to get a free gift. You're looking for a benefit before you've even signed the contract. You want to get an Xbox or a PlayStation or a free Apple iWatch or whatever it might be, but you're looking for a benefit. So for me, at that time, I was looking at what are the benefits of being in this religion. Like, being a Christian, what do I get from it? And one of the things I got from it was love, number one. Number two was community and relationships, like friends that you could, really lean on, and there was a trust there. And I've made some lifelong friends, people who are Christians. People should really look outside of their own communities. That is integration there. When you're communicating with people from different backgrounds and understanding who they are, because when you get this experience, what you're actually doing is you're broadening your understanding of other cultures and other people's behaviors and ways of life, and it actually contributes towards the way you are and the way you treat others. Because if you're stuck in one community your whole life, you're never going to know anything else, and the moment you step out, you're going to think you're in an alien land, and people are behaving in a way which you've never seen and you're not used to. They're eating strange food, or they're talking very strangely, and this is the thing that we see. This is something that I found here in the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. I found benefit to being in here. The evidence is there. You look at the evidence, it's there. It's in abundance. I've never seen so much evidence for anything. I mean, I've been in a multitude of religions in my whole life, Okay, and that's at least 20 years worth of experience of going through different religions, going in and out of religion, and fighting with God, like against myself, obviously, but fighting with God. And so when I come here, literally, I'm looking at the evidence. I'm like, okay, put that to the side now. What are the benefits of being here? Because the evidence is clear.
Yeah, the evidence is already there.
And now I'm taking all of the experiences that I've had and said, do you know what? I've seen this is, it all sounds very familiar to me, and the Hujjah's here, he's proven who he is.
Yeah.
Therefore, let me now skip to the good part. What are the benefits of being in this community and being a part of this work and being a part of something that is already groundbreaking and world-shaking? Because it is. This is a groundbreaking and a world-shaking place to be. It's a place where people are thriving. It's a place where I've never seen children this happy. Never seen children so happy in my life. The freedoms we have. Abba Al-Sadiq, labbaik ya Abba Al-Sadiq, because he's given us our freedoms back that was taken from us. Religions take freedoms from you because of the way the people who are not appointed by God have that control over the narrative. You go to a church, for example, you're going to listen to what your pastor says because he's more knowledgeable than you are. Naturally. You are beneath them in that.
And you don't ask questions. Don't worry about it. It's too complicated for you to understand.
Never ask questions.
And don't read anything else other than what I tell you.
And sometimes if it's a family environment too, you don't want to ask questions because you don't want to get it from your mum and dad.
Yeah.
Why did you say that? Why did you ask this? There's pressures from all different angles. So I understand the pressures. But we all have to at some point. I mean, what is the point of that phrase, take a leap of faith, if you're never going to do it?
Of course.
You know? Because you're taking a leap of faith, it involves you and you alone. And when you take that leap of faith, the best thing about it is that you did the hardest thing. The hardest thing is when you're standing next to a pool and you've never been in water before, is getting in the water. Once you're in there, it just takes a couple of seconds or minutes to just settle yourself and calm down. And now the ocean is yours.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So I find that Abba Al-Sadiq has done this. He's given us our freedoms back. He's given us that confidence in God. Because I've been in a lot of religions and there's no substance anywhere else. The substance is missing.
Exactly.
That's why people find it
It's
hard
life.
to kind of answer what we're saying.
It's the soul. The soul. For me, for sure, when I first discover I feel like I had a kind of a sort of an awakening at some point where all of a sudden I'm questioning my religion and my beliefs, and now I'm like, oh my God, who is God? Why am I believing in this? It was kind of like a very exciting time in my life. And when I did walk into churches and try to go and speak to the pastors, I didn't find any soul. I didn't find any life. All I saw was a facade of just come to my church and give me money. That's it. That was all that it had to offer. And so I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you kind of went through this journey and you made these different stops at different signs, different denominations, and in each one of them you find something that you loved, and but it wasn't everything that you loved. So you just picked up all of these things, 1% here, 10% here, you found different denominations, but then when you finally got here, you found that everything that you liked from all of the other religions, you actually found it all here.
Yeah, so you're right. I carried a bag on my back, right, as I'm carrying my home. And so through that journey, I went into Christianity, and I took the good, left the bad. The good was reasonable size. Yeah. Because I learned a lot about Jesus and how he was, and the envisioning of him was a lot more apparent in Christianity than it actually is in Islam. There's no imagery and stuff. So there was kind of a visualization and sort of things there. So it kind of made it a little bit easier for me to be able to understand a bit more. And so going through that journey, collecting from each stop, as you put it, at each stop, you're absolutely right, collecting, taking the good, leaving the bad. And by the time I got to this stop here, everything that I collected that was good, that was justified and that was evidence-based and that was truthful, and it was not to do with emotion, right? It was truthful and not to do with emotion. Put the emotions to the side. Well, Abba Al-Sadiq is the full package. He is the full package. He has access to sources of knowledge we couldn't even comprehend. He has already, divulged so much knowledge that we can't even understand and comprehend. And even though it's out there for people to try to understand, we need him. We do need him. We need a person like that to be able to give us that truth. And actually, if you haven't had a journey like mine where you've gone from one religion to another, it's not indecisiveness. It's called searching.
Exactly.
A lot of people say, "Oh, you're unstable." No.
The fact is that Jesus himself, he said, "Seek and do not stop seeking until you find." Okay? And then when you find, you will be disturbed.
Exactly.
And when you are disturbed, you will be amazed.
Yes,
and then you will rule over the all. So Jesus himself, he told you, go and seek. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family, there is a narration that states to seek knowledge even if it were in China.
Yes, exactly.
You know, nobody said that religion is one stop.
That's
okay? Right. What it's described as is a path. It's a journey. Okay, we're here on a journey, and we're here on the journey to find the truth. And if you stop and if you live in every single gas station for the rest of your life, you're gonna have a very long road. So the point of that is to keep seeking that destination. And I mean, you know, I believe in this religion 100%. I'm in love with this religion. I know why I'm here. So for me, I think that of course I think that you've reached your destination.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the destination is God, because that is the purpose of our life. This is the purpose of why we are here, is to know God. And how can we ever know God? Is through his appointed leader. That's and right. Through his guide. In the time of Jesus, he was the way to the Father. If you knew Jesus, you knew the Father. If you were in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, if you knew the Prophet Muhammad, you knew God. If you were in the time of Noah, if you knew Noah, you knew God. So the same with Abdullah Hashim Al-Sadiq. The purpose of our life on this planet is to know God. That is why we were created, is to worship God. And how can you worship something that you don't know?
Absolutely.
So you have to know God, and God is far above what it is that we know. And Jesus, he left 2,000 years ago, right? So we can't possibly know God through false interpretations of different denominations, so we do have to have a living messenger, a living guide, and when you find him, you do feel that you can never trade that for any sort
invaluable.
of exactly. And that's why Jesus he describes the kingdom of God as a precious pearl that when a man found, he hid it and he buried it on under a tree, and then he went and he sold everything that he has in order to attain this pearl. And the kingdom of God you've attained, and now you have it. So now just enjoy the ride. And I really hope, Nasar, that we'll have more conversations like this. And God bless you very much.
God bless you too. I just want to say one last thing, is that, for all of those out there who are searching, the thing that you have to remember is that there are loads of religions on this planet. And when you go to one and you take whatever good you can, and then you move to another and you take whatever good you can, these are all pieces to a puzzle. You see, because the truth is jotted everywhere. If you're in search, some people just turn up at the door of the Mahdi, but others have to go on this path because that's who they are. That's who they've been created. That's who they are as an individual. So people have different routes to getting to the Mahdi, right? Some people can wake up one day after a dream, I saw the Mahdi, okay, I'm going to follow him. He's the guy. And that's it. They pledge their allegiance. Whereas with others, it is a case of, I'm having to go the scenic route. I like to call it the scenic route because the scenic routes are really long, beautiful, and you get to your destination eventually, but it takes a lot longer. I'd like to share one last thing, and that is that whatever I can do from all that experience, that scenic route I've done, I want to ensure that all those experiences I've had, if anybody, and I mean anybody, wants to talk on this sort of level and talk like this, because this is the best conversation, a stimulating conversation that really gets the mind thinking about things, because these are the conversations that are required to make you contemplate when you go home, instead of just cutting it off and going to sleep. But
exactly. God bless you. You will see Brother Nasar again, because he will come back in about 15 minutes with Sister Alex, and you will hear more from him. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope that it was enlightening and gave you something to think about. As always, visit the Mahdi Has Appeared YouTube channel and our website at the ahmadireligion.org. Thank you very much. Peace be upon you all.